Hello, I'm Emma Last, and with me today is Judith Rayner, and we are talking about all things confidence. So, anything in relation to kind of helping people with confidence. It's something that I've really seen a huge kind of spike in work in terms of the areas that I've been working on with people through the pandemic, and how as they start to return back into the workplace as well. Some almost kind of, if they've been furloughed, for example, they're then thinking, have they got the skills to go back and do that job again? Really questioning, really lacking quite a lot of self-esteem in terms of, perhaps what that kind of difference has been in terms of that, that kind of going to work, coming home, for example, or working from home, or those people that, have are in a redundancy situation and really doubting if they've got the ability to kind of go back and try and get that professional or higher level job that they had before. So I've invited Judith here today because Judith, a few months ago, Judith did an amazing audio that I listened to, and so I invited her here to be part of my talks around confidence. So Judith, when you started working with people around their confidence, kind of when did that all start?
Wow, God, going back a bit. I was already coaching, so I coach female business owners primarily. And when I first started out, I was doing more sort of life coaching, and then I gradually got into coaching female business owners, and then I did more qualifications. And I was running a branch of a networking meeting, called a Mumpreneurs Networking Club. I don't know if you know it. It's quite big down in the south. There's a lot on the south coast, and then there's a couple dotted around. And I was running one of their local branches, and also like attending quite a lot of in-person live networking meetings. And what I saw was what I came to term the networking face. So there are all these amazing women at networking, lippy applied, looking fab, coming there to talk about their business or their product or whatever they were doing. And at first everything appeared fine, and they do their pitch and fantastic. But then as I got to know them better, I realized that this was a face. This was the networking face.
Yeah.
And that behind the networking face, when they got home, there was panic, insecurity, doubt, fear, and all these things, because they weren't half as confident either in what they were doing or what they were presenting or what they were saying they were doing as they were making out. So it was a real kind of mask thing going on. And that's when I first sort of realized, not that, there's a thing about confidence, but how much it impacts people and how much people hide it. Not feeling confident. Oh, I'm doing that hair thing. Oh well.
Back to front hair thing. That makes you feel like it's not even a mirror, is it? It's just bizarre.
I'm sure you really mess it up. So I started working with these female business owners very much around their confidence. So rather than their business straight away, it was about their confidence and about what was going on behind the scenes, because they might come saying, I can't make these phone calls, or I'm not getting anywhere, or whatever. And it quite often boiled down to not taking the actions because of a lack of confidence, or not showing up, or not speaking up, all sorts of things.
So almost like creating a block in their mind and then not being able to get over that block.
Yeah, definitely. And the huge kind of comparison thing that goes on
Yeah.
Whether that's, you know, if you've got your own business or you're employed and you're judging yourself against others and what you perceive as confidence, as success, and then how you kind of measure yourself against it, can have a huge impact on confidence. You know, there are people out there who are through and through confident. They just get on with stuff. They don't overthink things and they get on. But I would say the majority of people have these wavering things, or even debilitating at times.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the people that I've worked with, it is a big, you know, can hold them back. And actually some simple steps do make a big difference.
Yeah.
Are there any tips that you could share with us?
Yeah, there are, but I suppose there's different things depending on where, because, you know, lack of confidence or whatever shows up, doesn't it, in different ways.
Yeah.
And it also depends what you're trying to do as to what tips are kind of relevant.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm an NLP practitioner as well, and there's obviously tools within that.
Yeah.
Things like anchoring, you know, creating a vision of something before you do it.
Yeah.
So there's loads of different things. I would say the first thing to do, actually, because it works on a bit of a deeper level, is have a look at your language.
Yes.
Language is a really great mirror of what's going on inside. So it's kind of what you're thinking about, and then what you're saying will impact what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it starts with kind of noticing the thoughts and the kind of habitual language that you use about either yourself or the situation, or about others, or what you're walking into, or what you're doing. So this narrative that you've got going on in your head is the language that you use, and the common kind of phrases that you use is really to firstly be aware of what they are.
So if someone's kind of thinking that they are lacking confidence and that they need to kind of pick up on those things within their language, what sorts of things might they be saying to themselves?
Well, they might often be just responding with, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Or it could be, I'll do it when. So I'll do it when I've lost weight. I'll do that when I've learned to do X. I'll do it when I look better, when I've got my hair cut, when these sort of things. Oh, I'm too old, I'm too young.
Yeah.
But I would say the I can't is a massive one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might go on to, or there could be like, I'm not clever enough. I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
I'm not clever as that person. I can't be like them.
Yes.
You know, all those kinds of phrases that are those sort of negative self-expression, I suppose, about themselves is what I think they'll really notice, first of all. And then it could even be the putting off thing is really interesting, actually. The kind of, I'll do it when.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do it yet. I'll do it when. And it's just a way of putting stuff off, and it's a real sign that there's a confidence issue going on, or something else. There's some kind of obstacle in there, whether it's confidence or something else. It could be something else. So that's
interesting. That's really interesting, because kind of the more severe say if I'm working with people with imposter syndrome, which I'm going to be talking more about next week in a training session, in terms of that, you know, the earlier they are in the process of saying no to something, generally the worse their imposter is. So there's a little bit of similarity there, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, noticing your language or inner dialogue, first of all, is really important, because then you can begin to change it. The mind's a clever old what's it, and because what you'll also be doing is you might be bringing up history. So I wrote down habits and history. So it's kind of the habits, the habitual way that you speak to yourself and that you respond to things. So it's not always how you're talking to yourself. It's not necessarily you're being horrible to yourself, but it could be a response, a habitual response that you always use in particular things that stop you doing something. and your mind, you know, you said about the mind monkey audio, your brain and the whole mind monkey thing, your brain is basically trying to keep you safe. The mind monkeys are trying to keep you safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's their job. You know, your brain is there to keep you safe. And it's really good at it as well, because if you've got something going back, if you were made a fool of at school for your voice, when you stood up on stage, or I don't know, your writing, or your writing's rubbish, you'll never be any good at that. You know, that stuff sticks. And then we have a narrative about it, and even if we don't consciously say it, it's there. Or my mum's going to go, "Oh no, remember last time you tried to do that and it failed."
Yeah, stored in your little negative filing cabinets. That's
I love that, the filing cabinet thing. And what your brain will do is it will go and look for examples. It will go and look through your history. And it will look for things to back it up. So it'll go, "Oh, yeah, you want examples of when you can't do something? I'll give you a few. Remember that you couldn't do this, and you couldn't do this, and you couldn't." And then you kind of, you've almost got like a self-affirmation that you're right. I can't do it.
You can't do it.
I've got all this evidence. I can't do it. You know, and it's bonkers. It just holds you in a place that isn't kind of real anymore.
No.
In a way.
You know, and all, you know, and you are right in terms of that whole thing about, you know, the brain protecting us. You know, ultimately, that's what its job is to do. It was for us to survive. You know, and sometimes what we have to do is we have to train it to, you know, to quieten it a bit, and also trust in our own decision making. You know, now that we're adults, you know, we can make our own decisions.
Absolutely. And in doing that, it's sort of most things that we try, you know, there's that old phrase, isn't there? If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And kind of if you can adopt that attitude to a point, obviously, it's actually true, because most of the things that we're going to try and do, or we want to do, are not really going, if they fail, whatever reason, or don't go quite as well as you think, or if you feel silly, or you feel embarrassed, or you know, you make a right old fool out of yourself, it's not going to kill you. It doesn't really matter too much. So it's that comfort zone thing as well, isn't it? So, and the more you do something, the more confident you get with it, because you build the skills. So there's a lot to be said for the just do it thing. You know, get on and do it, or at least start, because starting builds confidence. I would say if somebody's really struggling to get going and they've got a big block, get started, take action, something small, and then do the next thing, and then do the next thing, and just start small and keep going, because you know, once you start something, you generally feel better, and then as you carry on, your confidence grows, so you can kind of carry on again. And it's really keeping tabs of what you, along the way, of what you are achieving, and noticing the good stuff. You know, because your brain is going to keep trying to bring in the historical things that went wrong, or where you felt embarrassed or whatever. But if you can begin to build a catalogue and recognise consciously the good stuff, the positive outcomes, the things that you've done well, the things that went well, all of that is confidence building as well. There's quite a lot of things you can do, but it is a bit of a conscious effort, you know.
And that, what I find as well, what's really interesting around confidence and building, kind of having that sense of achievement, you know, when you do something, and it might just be a small little step that someone does. And often, you know, sometimes it doesn't have to be related to the block that they were working on initially. You know, it's actually trying to prove to yourself that you can do some things that are different, that you can do out of your comfort zone, that you can learn something new, and you can do something new. And that, you know, that's all part of the NHS's 5 ways to well-being. So while you're doing that, you're working on your well-being as well.
Yeah, oh, right, cool. I'll have to go and learn more about that. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I remember reading somewhere about decision making,
Yeah.
because that's an area where people don't always feel confident to
Yes.
make decisions if they've
Yeah.
always let other people make their decisions, or if
Yeah.
they procrastinate so long that they don't have to make the decision. It's like
Yeah.
an avoidance tactic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I completely lost what I was going to say now. So yeah, decision making. So even starting with like the tiniest decision. So
Yeah.
if when you're choosing a coffee or a cake
Yeah.
or something of a menu, if you kind of spend way too long thinking about it and always ask the other person, "Oh, what are you having?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think? What are you having?" Oh, I'll have the same. You know, it's like take back that kind of decision,
Yeah.
something really small, like you were saying,
Yeah.
and build on it. Like take a decision, do something that you would normally let somebody else do.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's at home with your family, kids, whatever. Like take something, a little bit of control over
Yeah.
like small things to build confidence gradually. So yeah, it's interesting what you're saying. It's not all about the thing that you think it is. It's building up the kind of inherent confidence, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's just going at it from a bit of a different angle, and
Yeah.
then building the confidence in other areas, and then the decision making in the areas that need to be. It's a bit of it's a bit of a different strategy, really, isn't it? But sometimes it's just about, right, well, go for a run, see if you can do that, see if you can run a bit further. And just trying to create that sense of achievement. Well, you've done that, right? You can add that to, like you say, your positive evidence to combat your negative evidence. So when it says, "No, you can't do that," well, actually, no, I can.
Yeah, because people are really quick to list all the things they can't do, aren't they? And sometimes very slow to recognise what they can do and what they have done through their whole life. Like every little thing, they might be amazing at making cakes, but don't acknowledge it because, it's just something my mum taught me to do, and it's nothing.
Do we need something? Because I can't do that.
I mean, one of the sort of
and I don't mind admitting it.
I always avoided the bake sale, the school bake sale thing.
Oh no, I was just like the worst one I was the worst one at school for cooking and stuff. I burnt cheese on toast, mate. I did. As I say to my husband, you cannot be good at everything. That's what I say.
Exactly. Maybe that's another aspect of it as well, like trying to be perfect. This is not but that's a whole other subject, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's a really big topic, isn't it? And it kind of manifests itself in so many ways.
Yeah.
And actually, overthinking is a big kind of aspect of the whole confidence thing. So again, by taking that bit of action, whatever it is, so stopping the thinking and starting to take action, is it sort of creates a bit of a more momentum, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes it's like it's having, when you have those things going through your head, it's having the confidence to actually take control back. So at the moment, there's lots of people suffering from kind of anxiety type symptoms or worrying about things that are that are new things that they're having to do. What if I do that, and then what if that happens? What if that happens? So there's kind of a lot of ruminating kind of going on as well. So when we were in the beginning of lockdown, quite a lot of the work that I was doing with some people was around, okay, well, some of the basic things like working out what you'll be happy with, what you can control, what you can't control. Some really basic strategies like that sometimes can give you kind of, no, actually, I've got the confidence that I've got a plan.
Yeah. Just simply having a plan to deal with it could be a really big way forward, couldn't it?
Yes. So
in the sort of coaching thing, like in life coaching, one of the kind of earliest things that you'd get somebody to do if they were feeling really like not confident and
Yeah.
flat with themselves and everything. It's actually just is to write a list of everything they've ever done, ever achieved, ever done, everything they're good at, like right from as far back as they can remember, just everything. And weird things pop up, like, oh, cycling, for me, cycling proficiency test, I got 100%. But it was still something I did and I achieved, you know, but you can dismiss it. So
well, also, some of the work I do on that as well is I do that, but I also say, it's almost I get them to revisit the story so they can pull the strengths in the story. So it is achievements, but also sometimes when really crap things happen, actually there's a sense of achievement in that you've overcome that challenge, that really awful thing that happened to you. Actually, what can you start pulling from that? Because, you know, how were you when you were going through that? Well, actually, do you know what? I was a massive support to everybody else. You know, I took it step by step. I was really controlled about it. You know, and I kept myself really calm, and you know, it could be all sorts of different things, you know, different things that come out of it. And actually, by sometimes going back and looking at looking back at things, it can have, like you say, pull out those strengths, really look at what those strengths are. But sometimes it can be, you know, you sometimes have to look at the challenges as well too.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah. Not just brushing over them, kind of taking the learning from the challenges as well.
Because often, some of those challenges or things that have happened can be actually part of the reason why you feel lacking in confidence. So it's a fine balance, because you need to be careful to kind of not, you know, bring out too much kind of sadness or trauma or whatever but sometimes, you know, kind of in the main, you know, majority of people can generally go through that and start to pull some you know, some positive learns from things. And even if they think, well, I made a wrong decision about that, well, okay, well, you might think you feel guilty about that, and that's why you're lacking in confidence. Okay, well, why do you feel guilty about that? What did you learn? You know, what did you learn about that? Well, I've learned that I need to make sure that I don't do this again. So,
or do my research or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And also, you know, I kind of believe that we make the best decision that we can make at the time.
Yeah.
And they don't always work out. And sometimes we have big regrets about decisions and stuff, but at the time when we made the decision that we could make.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bit of letting ourselves off the hook a little bit as well. But it's
and also it's kind of stuff happens, you make decisions that you think are the right decisions at that time. You know, situations change, things happen, things don't play out as you thought they would do. But
we don't have a crystal ball, do we?
No, we don't. And it's and also a big massive thing around it, it's like, we're not perfect, we're not robots, we're humans. And sometimes we just have to have a bit of forgiveness. We would forgive other people, but do we forgive ourselves sometimes?
Also, I think the thing with confidence as well, is the word trust. So trusting yourself. And allowing yourself to, you know, if something's going to be a mistake or whatever, or a learning opportunity, but trusting yourself that you can do the stuff that, you know, at whatever level it is and whatever thing it is trusting yourself and having belief in the step that you take in the end. You know, there's all the, you know, you can obviously do affirmations, there's tons of tools out there, isn't there, to use for confidence. It all depends where you are on the scale, I suppose. But it's also, I suppose, because, you know, you hear this thing about act as if as well. And I think that's quite a tricky one, because I think act as if is really, really useful, not in the way of pretending, because you don't pretend, you can't pretend to be something that you're not, or something or somebody else. So I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it's good to sort of pretend that you are something different, because underneath it you could just be feeling really bad and like somebody's going to find me out, and then it leads on to your imposter syndrome. But what would a confident you look like? What would a confident you be doing next? What would a confident you be saying in this situation, and act that way? So it's like that confident version of you, or that version of you that's just in that next level of confidence, not the out there, because that's not all about confidence, that's showmanship. So it's kind of what does that look like for me? What is that? And imagining it, and how could this go well? What first step could I take? What do I want to see? What do I want to hear? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And that can help to build confidence by imagining things going the way that you want them to go. With you as you in that situation, but without your kind of doubts or your, the way that you want to have the conversation or whatever.
It's really interesting, because one of the really, I do say this to, to people sometimes when I'm coaching, obviously if it's relevant, because one of the things that really sticks in my head, kind of in my experience, it was probably, how many years ago now? It was, I think it was like after my third child, went back, and no, it might have been before that. No, I think it might have been before that. So basically, I was like ready pretty much, or I thought I was ready for the next level of promotion. I was like always, all the way through, it was like, right, what's my next, right, okay, where do I need to get to? Right, what's the next step after that? Really, really ambitious. I'd always been like that. Anyway, I got to this point where literally I could not see what else I could do in this role. And he was actually a Dutch guy, because I worked for a Dutch company. And he was somebody that kind of, when I talked to him, I found him really inspiring and just full of loads of knowledge. But he was also really, really gentle, like a really not confrontational type person, like so gentle. Anyway, I was like, I'd done everything. I'd tried to kind of say to my boss, what else do I need to do to get promoted? What's the next step? And they were like, well, the next, you'll just have to wait till another job comes up at the next level, and we'll see what happened. But to me, it was like, hang on, I'm doing so much. I should be sat around that board table already. I'm not really bothered about, I wasn't bothered about the money. I was more bothered about actually give me the ability to be sat around that table to influence those people more, so that we could get better results within the business, because I cared so much about the business. I often didn't care enough about me, but that's a story. And he said to me, and I just said to him, what do I do? Because you've seen the work I've done, because he used to come over and like assess us every so often. You've seen the work I've done. What do I need to do to convince them that I need to be sat around that table, and for them to potentially even change the level of my job role that I was currently doing? And he just said, act as if you are at the level that you want to be. So that wasn't that I was portraying not being me. That was not what he was saying. It was more about actually, like assume that you're kind of one step above where you really are, and then kind of work to that job role. And then so I did that, and I was promoted within about 6 months, but it just always sticks in my head that, so
I really like that. It's and the other one is make decisions from that place as well. It's like behave in that way and make decisions in that way. And it's not pretending, but it's like I heard a really good phrase actually, which was I mean, it was for women. Oh no, I'm adjusting my top again. It's by saying I am the woman who. So I'm the woman who makes conversation easily. I am, whatever the confidence issue is.
Yeah.
I am the woman who asks for a pay rise. I am the woman who gets up and dresses well every day. I am the woman who cooks fresh food from scratch. I'm the woman who exercises, who takes her body, treats her body well. And that's quite empowering, using that kind of phrase, I am the woman who, and creating that kind of self-narrative, I suppose, about what that woman does and looks like and whatever. It's quite empowering.
Yeah, that's interesting. I read something the other day, and it was about so those people that are kind of like being made redundant and applying for jobs, for example, reapplying for jobs and going through that whole change process, that men are going in and using it as an opportunity to often further their career, and women are going, well, if you're a bit short on money, company, then I'll take $5,000 less.
So weird, isn't it? What is wrong with us? It's that confidence to actually go in. And I remember actually when I the last job that I was in, that I finished, so when my daughter was 3 years old, when I was made redundant, so it's 11 years ago, and I was there for 6 years. When I went for that job, it was a management job, managing teams and stuff. And my husband always pushes for, whenever he went for an interview, he always pushed for more money than they were offering, like every single time. And it's not something that women do, genuinely speaking. And he made me push for more. Because, they weren't paying quite what I wanted, really. So he made me push for more money and more benefits, and I got it. It was the most uncomfortable thing I've probably, it was so uncomfortable. And it's we need to have that confidence to ask for what we're worth.
Yeah.
And just got to stand up for that and go, no, I am worth that, because there is always the option the other person can say no. But if you don't ask, then you don't put yourself forward, you're not going to get it. And certainly I've been guilty of what you said just now about, I will empathise with the business owner, or I would have empathised with the business owner. That, well, that must be what they can afford to pay.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, I pushed them for quite a bit more. And then, of course, any salary increase that you get is on top of that more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ongoing, so it's worth doing. But it was super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is. It's probably deeper work, isn't it? About kind of what value do you put on you? Ultimately, what is, in terms of your confidence, what value do you actually put on you?
And also how to articulate it and how to negotiate, because I think women are not taught how to negotiate. Particularly, because I was negotiating with my boss, who was male, and then he was having to take it to the business owner, who was male, and the finance director, who was male. Quite an experience. But it was good though, because it was one of those things where, I've done that, I would do that again. Because I proved to myself I could do it. So building confidence in that field, sort of thing.
Interesting.
We could talk about this forever. It's such a big topic.
Have we covered everything that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I think so, because we've talked about loads of tips and stuff, haven't we, and sort of language and things. And and if people want to pick up, I think you're going to make available the Mind Monkey audio, aren't you?
That's available within either your membership or my membership, isn't it?
So if people want access to that, they can do one of those two things. And it's an audio that's designed to listen to while walking, really, but doesn't have to be listened to while walking. But it is designed to be used and listened to while walking to kind of open up a different way of thinking and absorb it in a different way to how we do when we just sit at a desk staring at a screen.
Exactly. And we, and to be fair, I did exactly that a couple of months ago, and went off with walking and had my headphones in and there's lovely little pauses, isn't there, as you go through, give you some time to think, but perhaps take a notepad with you, because I didn't do that. So I was like, I didn't really want to be doing that on my phone. Because I was kind of, my thinking was quite creative by that point, but it was great, walking at the same time, connecting with nature, taking notice, another one of the 5 ways to well-being. There you go. And being active because you're walking at the same time.
Yeah.
So, happy days.
Killing lots of birds with one stone.
Exactly. Thank you so much,
Brilliant.
Judith.
Thanks very much for having me on. It's been really good.
I've loved it. And what I'll do is I will tag Judith in the post, and then I will put more information in there. I am my membership program, and I think Judith is as well at the moment, aren't you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So so if you want to explore what we do in more detail, Judith is Let's Walk Business. Got that right, haven't I?
Yeah, got that right.
Yeah. And you'll find me in Judith's group as well, because I'm one of Judith's members. And then I have 2 different programs where I have the mental fitness membership, which is where you get an audio. We have a book and pod club once a month, and we and I come in and do live training in there once a month as well. And then if you want more and you want more coaching, and you want to think about how you can reboot your life, I have got only a few remaining places left for my Human Reboot program, which basically you can do through group coaching or through personal coaching. And that's all about helping you to get the right balance in your life, to perform at your best and to be mentally fit and strong. So anyway,
important, particularly now.
Absolutely. Anyway, thanks ever so much, Judith. I've absolutely loved having you.
Thank you. It's been brilliant. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Bye.